We are going to bring in Abby Freel now, everybody. Abby, how are you doing? Welcome to Speaking of Schmoedown.
I am good. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, I was I was bouncing around some people and man, she writes questions, and this is she's one of the question writers there, and this is a big day of a matches, some big matches here. Um, and this may be a silly question, I don't know, but do you know how many of your questions that you specifically wrote are being used today?
I don't know exactly. A lot of it, like with IG and Star Wars, was like questions that we all wrote from the tournament, and we almost just like because it was just one match, and it's been a while since those leagues have had those divisions have had a match, so it was kind of just using the ones that we didn't use for the championship, if that makes sense. So,
Right. Is
um,
there a cut? This year's been weird, like with the COVID and the movies and the
yeah.
the releases. So I'm just not aware. Has there been a cutoff point as to like how many movies from this year are there going to be any? Or is Tenant even like new releases? Would it even be considered in there since this is such a weird year?
I personally still get confused about that. I ask PJ and the other writers a lot. To my understanding, a movie that was supposed to have a theatrical release, and ones that did, like Tenet or like New Mutants and Mulan would definitely count. Hamilton is even up there. So it's messy because it's 2020. But to answer your question, yes,
We go by the Oscar rules. If
yeah,
it's close to streaming, but you have a release date, then yeah, it's good.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
So.
those Oscar rules are bound to change as well, right? And this whole situation is going to have to be reviewed, I presume, or is currently being reviewed at length in preparation for next season.
Yeah.
So I'm looking. I mean, I don't know if they're going to announce anything about that kind of stuff during Spectacular, but we'll see.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure what they will announce. I can tell you, I think it's also common knowledge is that there is a finished rule book. So, and it
Man,
is officially done.
let's not even get me started on that. I am one of the ones who leads the charge. I feel the rule book in its entirety should be released to the public, and I think I don't understand why it's not. I think it's wrong, but I have a whole different stance on that that I could go on and ramble on about for 10 minutes. And but yeah, what do you guys have? I know you guys got something you want to ask Abby here. I got some more things I want to ask her, but I'll let you guys ask her some stuff here.
I got a question about some questions. When you're writing these questions, do you do you ever write questions with specific competitors in mind? Obviously, you've got no guarantee that that's ever going to come up for that person in
Yeah.
that match, but you must write a question. Think, oh, so and so knows that movie, or oh, it'd be really fun if this person got tripped up by this question. That's got to be going through your head, or do you try and intentionally keep them as neutral in that way as possible?
I try to keep it as neutral as possible. Sometimes, I'm not really necessarily in charge of putting. So I did all of the round ones for both the singles and teams tournament, but I still didn't even. I just made I made the matches, and then PJ assigned those matches to or the list of questions to those matches. So I try to write as much as possible without certain competitors in mind, because then to me that would be like a little bit of not cheating, but just like um,
Yeah.
influencing the game. So I try not to do that just because it's like, oh, I know that Ben Bateman wouldn't know this, so I'm gonna I try not to do that.
Yeah. You've never had to like revise a question because you thought, oh, if this comes up, this group of people or, this amount of players might just get that too easily versus other people finding it overly difficult and you're just trying to find that middle ground. I don't
Yeah,
envy the job. I really don't.
it's very messy for the whole team.
Well, I got a question. So this involves with like super deep cut questions. I mean, how do you have to really? You have to have the super deep cut questions to make it a little bit more challenging, but especially when you have like Willie Bibiani getting knowing everything, and obviously with Inner Geekdom, like when you're going against Mike or Kevin Smets or Chandru, you have to get really deep cut. So do you have to like do you have like an editing process on where like if it's because we've seen time and time again that if it's worded wrong, maybe it gets challenged. Do you have like an editor or an editing process where you can?
Yeah. We have an editor on the team. Her name is Liz. If you guys know Maxwell Haddad, it's his wife. And she goes through and edits all the questions and double checks and fact checks. She joined the team in the second half of the season, but
That makes sense.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I imagine there must have been a meeting in the middle of this season somewhere. Like, guys, these challenges, we got to bring those numbers down on the challenges.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't write any questions; she just reviews them.
There's been a lot of talk, and not just this season, but over the season. There's always some matches where people question, it was technically a 5-point question, but it really maybe should have been a 1-point question. Situations like that. As a question writer, I would assume you would, but how do you take that into account when you're writing questions? How do you determine that kind of thing? And is there a specific situation where that you can recall or that you feel like sharing where there's been a question asked like a 5-pointer, but even you sat there and was like, I don't know if that was really a 5-pointer. That was a little easy.
There's been stuff like that. Even like people might write questions, and even as the writers, we might change the point value. So it's kind of among, like, it's always up for debate for sure. Something that is just so hard about writing and like the point values is like movies are so subjective. Like I am like one of the youngest people involved in the Schmoedown, so something that is easy to me can be hard for someone like John Roca, not to expose him for being old, but like we just but just like just our movie, like everyone's experiences with movies and the ones that they've seen are so different. So it's a hard thing to figure out. But there hasn't been too many moments this year that I've thought like that point value was not correct. It's usually, if the challenge is a challenge, it's usually pretty valid. But we work pretty hard to make sure that everything's in good shape and everything is correct.
Now, if there is a challenge issued, and I'm sorry, Dan, 1 second. If there is a challenge issued, and someone, what's that?
Let me ask this one question real quick because
go for it.
So you said like there's a point system to each question. So based on my understanding was that you had a list of questions with categories, and you picked the numbers, and that was the question. But what you're describing is that you pick a category from you have the list of numbers of categories, and that so like let's say there's a category of 2-point questions, a category of 3-point questions, and a category of 5-point questions, and that number corresponds to the that's how it is.
Mm-hmm. Everything was organized by round, and then specifically with like round 3 and 5, like 5 for a championship match. It is organized by 2, 3s, and 5s.
Okay.
So.
All right. That, because I always got confused with that. Well, it's random. I mean, you choose a number, and they probably that's how I always interpret it. But now that you explained that to me, now I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys quiz each other, the writers, a lot. Sorry, Jay. You guys quiz each other a lot. You write your own questions, bring them to each other, and then use each other to kind of gauge how hard they are. Like,
the only time we've really done that was kind of with Star Wars. It was because Star Wars is so intense, and the players are all so intense about it. And not even intense is the right word. They almost know it better than us. There was a lot of double checking with Star Wars, and a lot of going over those matches the night before the Twitch tournament matches. Yes.
You bring in anyone extra for the Star Wars matches, particular to edit those or to take another look at those? Or do you still just keep that in the team that you have?
I think a couple people sent PJ questions, but for the most part, it was the team.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Something I'm wondering about. Can you Can you take us through the behind the scenes process of what happens when a challenge is issued and it is ruled that for whatever reason the question was not really the best as far as worded or something like that? Like someone challenges a question, it's overruled. What kind of reformation process is there behind the scenes? Like who gets in trouble and how do they get in trouble for that? How bad?
No one gets in trouble. That's kind of the nice thing is like, because I've had questions that I've written that have been challenged, and there's never like a moment where it's like, well, Abby wrote it, so frick that. But PJ is always on the calls with the virtual matches. He's on the StreamYard, and then when a challenge happens, he's there, and he's the one that either checks it during that and debates with the people challenging and the judges for sure.
Do you have? Sorry, Jay.
Just real quick.
Can I go on?
Hold on. Shut up, Dean.
Calm down.
No, I just one quick follow up there. Now, do you? Sometimes it gets heated, or it seems like it's heated. The challenges and not agreeing with the way they go and questions and stuff like that. Like and I don't want anything specific or name dropping or calling, but has there ever been a situation that you're aware of where like there was some huge drama over a question that was asked and like just somebody was really legit pissed off?
Lucas Black.
Hello.
Hey, let's get ready to talk Schmoedown podcast. Hello, guys.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for dropping by.
The answer is yes, that has happened.
Wow.
We all know what we're thinking.
Oh man, what were you going to say though, Dean? I didn't really mean shut up. You know what I mean.
No, it's okay. I will, and that'll be really good radio. I was just wondering, off the top of your head, would you have like the top most frustrating challenge of one of your questions where you sat there and thought, really? Is there one where you really strongly disagreed with and maybe you had to concede on it, maybe you didn't? You don't have to tell.
No, I can say the first one that I ever had happen to one of my questions was I don't even remember if he challenged it, but it was in the last studio live event. It was it was Andrew Guy and Drew McWeeny. That team versus who they played Corruption, I believe, right?
I can check it right now.
Yeah, I think it was their team, but it was Andrew Guy got Cohen Brothers as his round 2, and I had a question about the release date, and he argued that a question about a Cohen Brothers release date should be in release dates and not Cohen Brothers round 2, and I disagreed. So
that's lame. That's lame. Yeah. There's so many questions that must fit into so many different categories. And you can't, as soon as you've got to put the kibosh on, okay, well, that's a Coen Brothers, not a release date or vice versa. Then all of a sudden now you've got to go through every director category and take out the release date questions, which is just, I would imagine, a stupid amount of work.
Yeah, so.
Nobody wants to do that. Work. We don't want to do that. It's a Schmoedown, not to work.
We got a few minutes here left because hell, guys, Spectacular 5 starts in like fucking 8 minutes. Yes, but what I really wanted to have you do is if you could just tell us a little bit. Well, I'm not going to say us. I'll say me because I'm older. I'm not very hip on all the technology and stuff like that. But I do know that you are blowing up TikTok with Schmoedown. Can you just tell, if you were going to try to tell an old guy like me what TikTok is and how it works exactly and how it benefits the Schmoedown, what would you tell me?
Yeah, well, the TikTok itself is a short form app, short form video app. And so videos are 15 to 60 seconds and it's got literally everything. The like stereotype is that it's teenagers dancing, but there is stuff for every fandom on TikTok. There is so much. There's comedy, there's stuff about movies. There's literally everything has a TikTok community. And Schmoedown itself, it's definitely the mission right now is just to expose more people to the brand of the show. And we are doing that. And that people are commenting and asking, like, where can I watch this? And like, what is this channel? So that's the main focus on the TikTok right now, for sure. So what I've been posting is old Schmoedown matches and like old Star Wars and IG. But so maybe for you guys, if you want to rewatch the Schmoedown in 1 minute segments, that would be fun. But it's mostly for new fans.
I like your last one about your choices on
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I watched that probably 4 or 5 times on replay, just like, that's awesome.
it was fun to make for
man.
sure.
I was going to do a response to that, but then I was thinking, should I just write left, right, and I was thinking, is it my left, is it Abby's left? And I confused myself, and I really never thought it. And then I figured, hey, you can come here for your predictions.
Right? I don't know. With the conversion factor, I don't know. Now I'm all twisted.
Right. And
How embarrassing. Our first.
And real quick, Abby, seeing as you're the social media guru of the Schmoedown, what can I do to boost my Instagram following?
Yes, I want to know too. I've actually already asked Abby this, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Didn't work, huh?
Take a picture of yourself every day.
Yeah. Hashtags and, get aesthetic pictures, and a good selfie never hurt,
Cool.
Yeah.
I just might have to try that. Maybe I'll post out a selfie today, see what happens, and use a bunch of hashtags. So
yeah.
Well, Abby, thank you very much for your time here today. Had an absolute pleasure talking to you, and you're more than welcome back anytime. And if I don't ask you back soon enough and you want to come back, just hit me up and say, hey, man.
I will.
So
for sure. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you for what you do to contribute to Schmoedown, because I mean, I think that a lot of people are often overlooked, and those are the people behind the scenes, such as yourself, David B. with music, Nerd Chronic with editing. It's not just the on-camera people, the commentators and the competitors, but I mean, dude, you're writing the questions. You're like the script writer that makes the words for the actors to say in great movies. Yeah. So thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you for coming and being on the show, Abby, for our very first show.
I will for sure come back. So
yep. You want to tell people where they can find you out real quick on social media?
Yeah, y'all can find me at Abigail Freel on everything, and follow the Schmoedown TikTok at the Schmoedown if you are not already following it. So
what's the current count?
The 28.6
wow.
K. So
excellent. Ooh. Good work. Thank you for what you do.
Yep.
And have a great afternoon and enjoy the spectacular, Abby.
Yeah, you too. I can say that I've seen it. It's very good.
All right. I was going to ask that question. I very nearly asked that question, and I didn't mind to, but
that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day, Abby. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.